Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org and shamanspiritcenter.com. That's me, the Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about couples counseling and family therapy with pathologically narcissistic people. This is a question I get asked all the time, so I thought we could address it on the show today. Living with a pathologically narcissistic person is usually extremely difficult. They are often combative, high conflict, selfish, entitled, childish, and generally abusive. More than that, they often have other difficulties that prompt their loved ones to believe that some kind of mental illness is at play. The narcissist's behavior may be so erratic, so extreme, or so out of touch with reality that their loved ones believe that something is truly wrong here. They might think their narcissistic loved one is bipolar or that they have multiple personalities. Regardless of how it plays out, it becomes obvious that the problems they're having are not, quote, normal relationship or family problems. Desperate for a way to understand and fix the situation, people naturally turn to family or couples counseling. Sometimes it's even the narcissistic person's idea. Counseling and therapy can be very helpful in many situations. However, dealing with a pathologically narcissistic person is not one of them. The problem is that the goal of the narcissistic person is usually not the same as the goals of the other person or people who are in therapy with them. Most people go to therapy voluntarily because they want help. Pathologically narcissistic people don't think they need help, at least not for any problems that they actually have. Most of the time, therapy and counseling are simply used as another way for narcissistic people to triangulate and weaponize someone against the victim. If it's their idea to go to therapy, the idea is probably actually for you to go to therapy. They want the therapist to tell you that you are the problem. This is one of the reasons that therapy and counseling with narcissists does not work. Good therapists will focus on what all parties in a relationship can improve, and narcissistic people generally do not want to hear that. They want to hear that you are doing something wrong and you need to change. As soon as the focus shifts to them, they often become angry and walk out, or they get triggered and they refuse to ever go back. They may accuse other people of picking on them, including the therapist. They may feel betrayed the instant the therapist suggests that they could do some work too. Of course, therapy under these circumstances is not going to work. Another reason counseling with narcissistic people usually fails is because the therapist or counselor is generally seen as just one more person to be won over to the narcissist side against the victim. They're not there to work on a relationship together. They are there to win. And the therapist is the prize, just as any other person always is in this type of situation. The goal then is to win the therapist to their side. This is accomplished by trying to turn the therapist against the victim. If attempts to do this do not succeed, it's likely to be considered a betrayal, and the victim is the one who will be accused of triangulation and of trying to turn the therapist against the narcissist. If the narcissist's attempts at triangulation do succeed, the narcissist's justifications for abuse have just been validated by a professional, and the abuse often becomes much worse. Sadly, a third reason therapy is unsuccessful with pathologically narcissistic people is because too many counselors and therapists just do not understand the situation. It would be wonderful if therapists and counselors and doctors and licensed clinical social workers were somehow immune to triangulation or making mistakes, but they're not. They're human beings too. Using traditional modalities and methods, for example, they may insist that the victim or victims validate the narcissist's feelings, not realizing that narcissists often take validation as an admission and an acknowledgement of guilt, or that the things the narcissist is claiming to be so hurt by and upset about may never have even happened. In essence, therapists may inadvertently validate, reinforce, and justify the narcissist's distorted perception of reality and even attempt to force the victim to exist in that reality too, because they don't understand how divergent from actuality the narcissist's version of reality really is. Therapists and counselors may chalk up disagreements about what happened or why as normal differences in perception or as harmless exaggerations, even though the differences in people's recollections may be disproportionately large or odd. For example, one person might remember a calm conversation and the other one insists that there was a violent screaming argument. When people cannot agree on a basic reality, this is a huge indication that something else is wrong in the situation. Unfortunately, too many counselors and therapists do not catch that, or they don't understand the gravity of what it actually means. They may instruct the victim to validate and honor the narcissist's perception without realizing this is exactly the wrong thing to do. Because if the narcissist is high functioning and being deliberately deceitful, it only empowers them to continue. If they're low functioning and they have more serious cognition problems, it reinforces their skewed perception. In either situation, it only makes the problem worse, sometimes a lot worse. A narcissist that believes they have been validated as a victim has now been completely justified in any abuse they dish out because they've essentially been told that they're acting in self-defense. They already feel that way, and now a professional has validated that. That means all bets are off, and sadly, many people come out of therapy or counseling with a pathologically narcissistic person much worse for the wear exactly because of that. The truth is, therapy and counseling only help if there is a commitment to wellness and a desire to change. Narcissists generally have neither of these things. Their only commitment is to their own survival, and the only thing they wish to change is your refusal to get with the program. The absolute best that would likely happen is they will go to a few sessions and then they're going to refuse to go back. At the very worst, the consequences could be disastrous. If you are thinking of trying this, think really hard about what you know about this person and be brutally honest with yourself. Do you really think it's going to help? People often go to couples or family therapy with the idea that it's going to, quote, fix their spouse or family member. However well intentioned this may be, and however willing you may be to participate and take responsibility for yourself, it's almost always ill advised to go to therapy for other people, and it is never more ill advised than when it involves a narcissist. If you are going to go to any kind of therapy, go for yourself. I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. I take appointments online, over the phone, via Skype, via Messenger, through text, and through email. So if you're interested in speaking with me one-on-one, you can visit littleshaman.org and click the appointments tab to go ahead and do that. I teach workshops a few times a month, so if you're interested in signing up for any of those, you can do that through littleshaman.org as well. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org and shamanspiritcenter.com. That's me, the Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.